Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, September 30, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather-related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the video that was posted at the last day in August about what the weather would have been like for the month of September. And looking right here at the CFS, that's the climate forecast system, we can see that we definitely had some above normal rainfall being predicted for September in the greens and the blues. And I guess we could say that we definitely had that. We definitely had numerous tropical waves, especially the moisture associated with the outer bands of Helene definitely brought a lot of rainfall to our area, and we definitely even had the rainfall being predicted for portions of the northeastern Gulf into portions of the southeastern United States. I'm definitely sure that most of that was in line with what Helene brought to the region. And if we take a look at what is being predicted for the month of October, first of all, we know we're talking about the whites, we're talking about average rainfall, the greens, all the way up into the blues. We're talking about way above normal rainfall, anywhere from 2 all the way up to 6 inches. And we can definitely see that the CFS is still forecasting above normal rainfall for portions of Jamaica in the green right here, even portions of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas, Central America getting in on the mix of that rainfall. And it's not only the CFS, but we even see the CANSIPs forecasting above normal rainfall, even seeing some dark greens and blues within that across portions of the Caribbean, portions of Central America for the month of October. This is just ridiculous rainfall if this actually happens. And we can also see the NMME model in consensus with those other models, especially right there across the Central and Western Caribbean near Jamaica. It's definitely concerning if we actually get this to come true. We know these maps are like crystal ball, definitely highlighting what's to come. Hopefully we do actually get the rainfall, but nothing to trigger flash flooding or any form of deaths, mudslides, anything like that. We just want the rainfall to cool down the temperatures. That's just it. And it's not only those 3 supercomputer models that are forecasting above normal rainfall, but even the precipitation outlook for the Caribbean from the CARICOF, that's the Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum. We're seeing that for October as well as November and December 2024, we're seeing above normal rainfall being predicted for portions of Jamaica in the blues. We can see all of that being represented by what we see on the key on the bottom. The blues are representing, or even the purples within that, representing above normal rainfall. We even see a lot of that across northern Venezuela, the ABC Islands, the eastern to the central Caribbean for sure, and even portions of Jamaica. We see the more west we go, the less rainfall we have. Don't see much across northeastern South America, and that has been the case so far this hurricane season. Not seeing much there. Not seeing much across Belize, not seeing much across Trinidad and Tobago. We'll see how that actually goes. Either way, we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. And keep in mind that for this CARICOF forecast, it's valid for all 3 months combined, or average, October through to December. Either way, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what exactly occurs. Let's switch gears and talk climatology. Considering that we're heading into the month of October, let's see this map showing the Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020. We can definitely see that we're right here heading into October 1. So we're definitely heading down the hill in terms of activity. Doesn't mean we can't have activity, and we have a lot of that taking place If we take a look at the wide view of the satellite as well as what the hurricane center is showing, we definitely have a lot taking place. But as expected, as we continue to go out in time, especially as we head into November and December, things should be wrapping up. But let us take a look at what the first 10 days of October usually bring, and this is based on data from 1851 to 2023, showing all of where we've had tropical storms forming in the yellow dots, and the black lines representing where these have moved on to. We can see a lot of them across the eastern Pacific. We can also see a lot of them across the western Caribbean and the southwestern Gulf right there, most of which should be associated with the Central American gyre in general. We know the Central American gyre has to do with the broad area of spin across Central America, causing a lot of moisture showers and thunderstorms, and this can spawn a lot of low pressure systems, if not tropical depressions, tropical storms as well. And that was definitely what brought us Helene a week ago, and it could spawn some more of that. We can also see that we have a lot of yellow that represent tropical storm formation points across the Caribbean, the main development region, even portions of the southwestern Atlantic as well. So let's look out and see what the first 10 days of October shows us, and we already have a lot of activity to talk about. But before we do that, let's look at the typical origins and tracks. Definitely right here is the hot spot in and around Jamaica, the Western Caribbean, for the month of October in general, as we see the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and we see the general path that these usually take, moving northward right there, if not hitting the US, possibly moving to the east of there. And if we take a look at the sea surface temperature anomaly updates, considering that today is September 30, this map just came out yesterday, and we're still seeing a lot of way above normal sea surface temperatures all across the Atlantic in general. So it's definitely warm enough to sustain all of these tropical systems. You can also see the La Nina trying to come in nicely. We're still in neutral conditions, not yet in 100% full-blown La Nina as yet. We know La Nina has to do with when we have more cooler than average sea surface temperatures across the central to the eastern Pacific. That in turn causes less activity to be happening across this portion of the world, basically shutting down this portion of the world and focusing all of the rising air across our portion of the world, making it easier for all of these tropical waves to become tropical depressions and storms, basically growing taller because we have the lack of wind shear. We know when we have the warmer than average temperatures here, we have a lot of activity that has to do with the El Nino that causes the upper level winds to tear the tops of the thunderstorms across the Atlantic off, thus preventing rainfall, also causing less tropical depressions and storms. But we have a La Nina now. We're having neutral to La Nina conditions, and we saw what the neutral conditions brought thus far, especially with Beryl. And we have a La Nina, so it should be even more robust in terms of the activity across our area, and it's definitely showing that. And I want for you to keep in mind that this map is showing how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean, at the sea surface. We see the above normal waters as represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds as well. And if we take a look right here, this map is showing the tropical cyclone heat potential. This map is showing how warm the waters are the deeper into the ocean we go. And look at the reds that represent that deep, very warm bath water around Florida, the southeastern Gulf, portion of the Western Caribbean, including Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica. Definitely some very warm ocean temperatures in general. So if we get a system to stall out over here, not much upwelling will be happening. It will just be churning up even more warmer than average water, definitely strengthening or maintaining the strength of these systems. Alright, so let's switch gears and talk about what's happening on the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that we still have that area across the southwestern Caribbean that has a medium chance of development as it pushes towards the northwest. We can also see tropical depression Joyce. Joyce was a tropical storm now has downgraded back to a depression, and we can see that we don't have that was Isaac anymore, definitely out of the picture. We can see that we have Kirk right there, definitely formed to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we see that we also have that area that has a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days as it pushes towards the west. So let us look at the visible satellite images to make out all of these entities. First of all, we can see all of the moisture associated with the system that's expected to have a medium chance of development as it pushes to the northwest into the Gulf of Mexico. We can see a little upper level low pressure speeding away right there across Jamaica, Haiti right there as well. We can see the clouds associated with what's left of Joyce, definitely still being blown off towards the northeast. Lots of wind shear. We can see the naked swirl right there on the southwestern portion of that system, and we can see all of the convection associated with newly developed tropical storm Kirk. I mean, look at all of that moisture pushing from west to east into the circulation, definitely trying to get its act together to be a very strong system in general. And we can also see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave that has a high chance of development as it pushes towards the west. If we take a look at the information regarding tropical depression Joyce, we can see that as of right now, it is packing maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, and it is moving towards the north at 2 miles per hour, where it's expected to dissipate by sometime on Wednesday as it relates to tropical storm Kirk. We can see that it is moving towards the west at the moment, but should start turning more northwestward, becoming an H. We know the H represents hurricane status by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, then making it all the way up to an M, that's major hurricane status, by 2 a.m. on Thursday. And we know major hurricane, we're talking about anywhere from category 3 to 5, but we're indeed glad that it's going to be more so of a fish storm. But considering that it's going to be a major hurricane, we can't rule out some strong or high waves fanning out from this system, some rip currents across portions of especially the northeastern Caribbean. But let us focus our attention for a second on the other system that the Hurricane Center has highlighted. So we're talking about this one that has a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. According to the Hurricane Center, satellite wind data indicate that a broad area of low pressure has formed in association with a tropical wave located a few hundred miles south of the Cabo Verde Islands. Showers and thunderstorms continue to gradually increase in association with the system, and the environmental conditions appear conducive for further development. A tropical depression is very likely to form during the next few days while it moves slowly westward over the eastern tropical Atlantic. And we see that they've given this system a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days, which explains the code red right here as it pushes to the west. Let's focus our attention on this other system now. Disorganized showers and thunderstorms located over the southwestern Caribbean Sea are associated with a trough of low pressure. Environmental conditions could support some gradual development of this system, and a tropical depression could form over the next several days while it moves generally northwestward over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and the southern Gulf of Mexico. Interest along the U.S. Gulf Coast should continue to monitor the progress of this system, and we see that the Hurricane Center has given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Alright, so either way, we have to be updated with what's happening, and we know the drill. The Euro and the GFS models keep updating every 6 hours to show us what's going to be unfolding regarding these systems. As usual, we're going to be looking at what the Euro model is showing first, so focus your attention on the timestamp, as we're just going to be going on to the next 168 hours. And we're focusing on this area here, and for a second, you might just see Hurricane Kirk come into frame somewhere across this portion of the map as well. So pay close attention as we go out in time. So first of all, we still have the moisture associated with the tropical wave interacting with the broad area of spin. That's the Central American gyre, not to mention the upper level low pressure across Jamaica as we speak. So as we go out in time, we're still seeing some moisture in and around the Jamaica area. We definitely had some rainfall across the island this morning for sure. And if we take a look here, this map from the year is showing 12Z on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. and we do see some moisture in and around Jamaica. Who knows how accurate that is? Either way, it's showing moisture for sure. Even by 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday, we see some moisture in and around the island. Look at this, even on Wednesday, this is 9Z on Wednesday, which is actually 4 a.m. Jamaica time. We see even some darker greens and yellows that represent all the way up to 4, maybe 5 inches of rainfall, even some 6-inch range in terms of the rainfall totals. And then we start to see the isobars come into play with the red L that represents an area of low pressure. So something trying to get its act together near Central America right there. A lot of the moisture starting to push into, say, Cayman Islands for sure. And as we continue to go out in time, we see the moisture lifting into portions of Cuba right there as it heads towards the Gulf of Mexico. And we can also see that system that should be Kirk right there. A very strong system, I might add, but it's going to be a fish storm as stated, so it's not going to be affecting anybody but the fishes. And if we take a look right here, this is where the system should be somewhere stalling out in the Gulf of Mexico, that very broad area of spin. So more than likely it's going to be bringing rainfall than anything else. Let's see what the GFS is forecasting for the same time period. So as we go out in time, first of all, 12Z on Tuesday, not seeing much in the way of rainfall like what the Euro was showing for 7 a.m. on Tuesday around Jamaica, but we do see it mainly to the west of us as well as to the southwest of us. As we continue to go out, this is valid for 6Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 a.m. on Wednesday. You start to see some of the moisture starting to come into portions of Jamaica. The darker greens to the southwest of us with the isobar around the area of low pressure, trying to get its act together as it pushes towards the north and the northwest. Some of this moisture heading into the Cayman Islands, then pushing into Cuba and heading into the Gulf of Mexico. And if we take a close look, we can actually see the isobars associated with Kirk right there off screen, but it's somewhere here for sure. You can also see another area of low pressure, maybe just a trough in the atmosphere. Not seeing that much on the Euro model, but we'll see how that goes. Then as we wrap up the end of the 168 hours, this is what the maps look like. So the Euro has a broad area of low pressure all across the Gulf, lots of moisture associated with it. The GFS has the area of low pressure, but most of the moisture closer to the panhandle of Florida. Basically the areas that were just affected by Helene going to be getting drenched for sure. That's if the GFS model actually comes to fruition. But if we take a look at what both the Euro and the GFS models are forecasting in terms of the accumulated rainfall, and this map from the Euro as well as this map from the GFS, they are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on, not even 10 p.m. This is valid for Monday, October 7, 18Z. That's about 1 p.m. on Monday, October 7. We do see the abundance of moisture that's expected, especially across the Western Caribbean, from the waters to the southwest of Jamaica, northward into the Cayman Islands, western Cuba, sections of the Gulf of Mexico into Florida, getting in on those purples and pinks and even all that salmon color that represents anywhere from 3 all the way up to 7 inches of rainfall. That's just ridiculous rainfall, but for the most part it seems to be out to sea. Either way, Jamaica right here could be getting in on some of the action. We see some yellow, some oranges, some reds representing all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall. So maybe some isolated flash flooding could definitely take place in our area. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I don't know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to be taking place. So just 1 inch of rainfall being forecasted, nothing too drastic like what the outer bands of Helene brought us. But we'll definitely take the rainfall to cool down the temperatures for sure. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we we can see the line associated with the tropical wave now to the far west of Jamaica, but we still have some moisture receiving, now affecting portions of Central America as we speak. Tropical depression Joyce right here, tropical storm Kirk right here, and the area of low pressure to the east of there that has a high chance of development. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the summer though, we can make out all of these entities, the clouds associated with that system that has a medium chance of development, the upper level low pressure spinning around right there, and about to head into portions of Jamaica, so we might just get on some thunderstorms in the next 24 hours, depending on how the upper level interacts with Jamaica and the amount of moisture that it's around it. You can see the clouds associated with Joyce, most of which is being sheared off to the northeast. The clouds associated with Kirk, trying to get its act together, definitely gonna be on its way to become a major hurricane, considering that it has a lot of moisture to work with. I mean, look at all of this. All of this is just entrailing into Kirk as we speak. Definitely gonna be a very formidable hurricane in general. We can also see right here that is the system that has a high chance of developing that tropical wave as it pushes towards the west. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens over time. If we take a look at what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, September 30, 2024, it was stated that especially parts of eastern, northern, and western parishes would have received rainfall, especially during the afternoon. But that doesn't mean that we wouldn't have gotten in on some rainfall in the morning. And we definitely got that rainfall across portions of St. Thomas as well as some southern parishes for sure. We didn't see that on the GFSR Euro model for the morning hours, but we definitely see it actually unfolding today. By the way, we know eastern parishes. We're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. Well, northern parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county. Well, on the top side of the island, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes on the bottom side, like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? As early as 6:40 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted here on our Twitter page. And I want for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the Cuban Doppler radar images highlighted the greens and the yellows that we can see by what we see on the key on the right. That represents the moderate to some heavy rainfall that definitely was lashing portions of St. Thomas, sections of St. Catherine, as well as sections of Clarendon. Definitely got in on some of that this morning for sure. And even as the morning progressed at around 8:31 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted next, and it highlighted the clouds as represented by the whites, definitely lashing portion of the east as well as the southern portion of the island. Areas like Kingston might have gotten on some light rainfall, section of St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Thomas, section of Portland got in on some of the action as well. And then finally by afternoon, we didn't get much in the way of rainfall like what was predicted on the models. But at around 3:26 p.m. we definitely had some isolated showers across sections of Hanover, St. James, sections of St. Anne and St. Mary definitely got in on some of these clouds as well. We see some thunderstorms right there to the northeast of the island and some high cold clouds blowing off towards the southwest. But we definitely had some clouds underneath all of this for sure. I definitely saw it to confirm the rainfall across portions of St. Mary and St. Anne. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the summer down, we can definitely make out that moist, well, not even moist, not so moist at all, definitely dry southeasterly flow. We can also see some burst of convection right there to the south of Kingston and St. Thomas, right there before all was said and done with the day. Unfortunately, the infrared satellite images are still glitching out. this latest run still showing September 27, but at the end there, it tried to show September 30, which means that I think they're trying to get it fixed for sure. This was showing 20:05 UTC, which is actually about, I believe, 3:05 p.m. Jamaica time. This was what was taking place at that time. Let's reload it to see if any changes have been made to the latest infrared close-up. Alright, still showing that, still glitched out for sure. Hopefully it gets sorted out soon so that we don't have to be using the NASA side. We can see it right here, showing the upper, I mean, look at that. This is the definition of an upper level low pressure, showing all of those high cold clouds spinning around in a circle. We can definitely see the thunderstorms associated with this upper level low pressure right there off to the southern side of it. And we can also make out the thunderstorms that affected portions of Jamaica today for sure, especially across the east and the southern sides of the island. And if we definitely match it to what we saw on the Kingston panoramic city view right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, this was at around 9:35 a.m. and it definitely highlighted the cloudy conditions that portion of Kingston was getting in on. You can also make out the rain shaft. Look there far to the west across portions of St. Catherine for sure. Portmore definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall at that time. I mean, look at that. Definitely getting in on some light to moderate, maybe even some heavy rainfall within all of that, looking beyond the wharf right there across portions of St. Catherine. And we definitely got on some light rainfall across Kingston. I was in downtown Kingston. I definitely got some rainfall for sure in my area. And keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have live streams of Halfway Tree, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor, the Barbican Camp, and even a Flatbridge as well. If we take a look at the comments from some of our followers on our Twitter page, we had Twiggy here confirming the rainfall in their area. That's enough sun in Kingston, but it's drizzling. Them still a scam. We're stating thunder with rain clearing somewhat now. We also had Ricardo James stating mostly cloudy with a refreshing wind coming from the east. So I'm trying to peep out in Kingston Eastern. We also have Miss Reed Washbelly stating wet to confirm the rainfall in her area. Even on our Facebook page, we had the comment coming in. Princess Isaac stating, thank God, we just cooled in St. Elizabeth this afternoon. Rain fell early though. Delroy Hines stating light showers in Tower Isle, St. Mary this afternoon. And even on our Instagram page, we had comments coming in from Sherry's.Brown5 stating rain in Clarendon. And even Marlon_OneGod highlighting and stating rain in his area as well, stating same. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite image, let's reload this. So we have the very latest, and the very latest should be right here. Let's see. I don't think it's reloaded as yet. Let's reload it one last time. Alright, there we go. So the very latest, this one, as of 0:50 UTC, which is actually 7:50 p.m. Jamaica time. We can definitely see that not much is happening across Jamaica right now. Just some high cirrus clouds as represented by the whites and purples right there to the northwest of, or to the north of St. James. Who knows, maybe some showers are embedded in that. We have to match it to what we're seeing on the Doppler radar images. Some close to the north of Portland, some close to the south of Kingston, some close to the east of Jamaica. We see some high cold cloud tops as represented by the purples, the greens, the yellows right there to the southeast of Jamaica, associated with that upper level low pressure. So let's match what we just saw on the infrared to what we're seeing now on the latest Cuban Doppler radar. We know the Cuban Doppler radar has been glitchy recently, glitching out a lot recently. Hopefully the Jamaican radar is started out soon. Alright, so here we go. Alright, doesn't seem like it's working at all. Seems like it's glitched out for sure. Yep, definitely glitched out because this is showing the latest image as of 6:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5:50 p.m. Jamaica time. So it's not showing what's happening right now, but we can definitely make out. And we definitely have some rainfall to the west of the island, some rainfall to the south of the island. Let's see what's happening on the latest Guantanamo Bay Naval Base radar, we do see some rainfall right there across section of southeastern Cuba. We don't see much rainfall across Jamaica, but we do see some isolated shores right there between Jamaica and Haiti, right there at one of the frames. As it relates to what's happening on the Cayman radar, we can definitely make out some rainfall to the south of the Cayman Islands, the greens, the yellows within, all of that. And we can also make out some rainfall to the northeast of the Cayman Islands as well. Boy, this is really why we need some of these radars around the area so that we can see what's happening across Jamaica, get a clearer picture. I swear it feels like I'm blind. I can't really make out what's happening. Alright, so let us take a look at what's happening right now on the Bogwalk Gorge camera. That's a flat bridge. You can see nothing taking place as of the latest 7:29. Well, that was 7:29. Let's get the live cam right now showing 8:05. Alright, there we go. Not seeing much happening. Definitely fair, for the most part, dry. You don't see the river in spate rushing or anything like that. Definitely calm tonight for sure. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston. Should be cooler than that right now if I'm not mistaken. So don't take these maps as gospel. And by 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, or even less than that. If we take a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we can actually make out Jamaica right here, getting in on more gray colors than anything else. I know the gray colors represent average temperatures for the most part. We can also see the cool temperatures associated with what's trying to develop to the southwest of Jamaica for sure. And we know the average temperatures for the month of October, 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we actually calculate that, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as about 31 degrees Celsius, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check that out for real to Celsius to see if I'm right. Alright, so 89 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, definitely about 31 degrees Celsius for sure. 31.6 degrees Celsius is the actual temperature. And given that we're going to be receiving average temperatures, 31 should be the average. So we're heading into the month of October. So temperature should be dropping as expected every month as we head into December. And we're indeed grateful for that. Let's lose the high temperatures, the summer temperatures that we've been getting. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to say from July. We've been getting these very warm temperatures from March. So hopefully we get a cool down very soon. I'm sure many persons can't wait for the next cold front. Either way, if 31 degrees Celsius is too hot for you, here are some tips to beat the heat. Try to limit the non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. Seek shade when you're outside. I cannot stress how important eating fresh fruits is. We know watermelon, grapes, apples, you can never go wrong. And stay hydrated by drinking lots of water instead, not necessarily the sugar drinks at all. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we can definitely make out that majority of the Atlantic basin still in for little to no wind shear, as all the brown, well, not wind shear, little to no Saharan dust, because all of the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be across the northern portions of the North Atlantic, as well as portions of the northern main development region right there. You can also see the swirl taking place right there associated with possible Kirk wrapping around in that system and ingesting some of the Saharan dust. Even right here we can make out Joyce ingesting some of the Saharan dust as well, and more than likely the system behind that, which is possibly, let's say, Leslie, considering that it has the high chance of development. Not Leslie yet, but definitely on its way to being Leslie. Possibly going to be ingesting some of the Saharan dust as well as it pushes towards the west. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens, if it actually makes it as far as the Caribbean or if it curves to the north. If we take a look here at the wave forecast for tomorrow, it still shows that we're getting in on those lighter shades of blues for the most part, to the slightly darker shades of blues that represents anywhere from 0.5 of a meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots, maybe even gusting to 15 knots in some spots. We see it coming from the east, and as soon as it gets into the Western Caribbean, coming more so from the southeast. And as it relates to what's expected tomorrow across Jamaica, we still see that east-southeast or a kind of southeasterly flow across the island for sure, making way for more of the air to be piling up across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. We see all of the blues. That's where all of the air is going to be piling up. That's where all of the low-level clouds are going to become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. That's where we're going to be having that afternoon rainfall for sure. And with the upper-level low pressure crossing over the island, it could favor more of the high cold cloud tops to be passing right like this over the island from south to north. And this is what I'm referring to. Let's go back to what we're seeing right here. Alright, this is what I'm referring to. So by tomorrow, the eastern end, this is the upper level low pressure. We can see the spin of the clouds right there. So by tomorrow, this portion of the upper level low, the eastern side, should be across the island, especially during the afternoon hours. So the high cold cloud tops should be blowing off from south to north, definitely making way for more overcast skies, if not more thunderstorms, for sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica for sure. And if we actually take a look at the rainfall forecasts now, this map from the Euro and this map from GFS are both showing where and when it's going to be raining at around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. The Euro, definitely robust, showing a lot of blues, stretching all the way from eastern to the western end of the island. But the GFS making more sense, especially with that southeasterly low-level flow, forecasting much of the rainfall across northern and western parishes. So anywhere from northwestern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, section of western Portland, and even section of northern St. Andrew in for some amount of rainfall. We'll see how this goes if the Euro model actually wins the rainfall across most parishes, but I'm more inclined to believe what the GFS is showing. Also seeing a lot of rainfall right there to the southwest of the island. Who knows, maybe the Euro wins, especially with the upper level low passing across the island within the next 24 hours. And we see that both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. And we do see the greens, the yellows, the oranges that represent anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to 0.75 of an inch of rainfall, especially on the northern and western sides of the island. On the GFS, Euro has a lot of this rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica. We'll see how all of that plays out. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens on my other social media platforms. Either way, we'll take it. We can see that regarding the month of October, we're finally here in Kingston. We usually receive what? This looks like it's close to 170, if not 180 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay, it's what? 8.5 inches of rainfall. That is just ridiculous. And 8.5 is what? Close to what? Maybe 200 and maybe 10 millimeters of rainfall for Montego Bay. That's ridiculous rainfall. In Montego Bay, the 170 millimeters is close to about, let's say, 7 inches of rainfall, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how that goes, if it actually goes in line this year with the above normal rainfall, especially considering with what was highlighted here from the supercomputer models, the CFS, the CANSIPS, the NMME model, as well as the CARICO forecast for above normal rainfall. Let's see if all of this comes through fruition for the month of October, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted, if God's will, with what's to come. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we don't see much happening across the Eastern Caribbean right now. Doesn't mean we can't get some isolated shores across the Northeastern Caribbean at all. And if we match Doppler radar images to what's happening right now across the Northeastern Caribbean, I think I saw some dots of green, well, some clouds there. And we can see the dots of greens representing the clouds that we just saw in satellite images across the Leeward Islands. Section of Puerto Rico definitely getting in on some isolated shores as we speak. So to Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts, the waters in and around Guadeloupe getting in on some of the action as well. Even if we reload these images from earlier today, section of South Central and Southwestern Puerto Rico definitely gotten on some heavy rainfall. If we take a look here at the Barbados radar, not much happening across Barbados right now, but we do see some rainfall coming in from the north right there, maybe to affect section of Barbados tonight. Some rainfall right there to the southwest of Martinique. Some rainfall in and around the Grenadine Islands for sure as we speak. Not seeing much happening across Trinidad and Tobago right now at all. But if we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall in and around Florida, western Cuba, the waters to the east of Nicaragua, Honduras, section of Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula getting in on some of the action. Even section of Colombia, northeastern Venezuela getting in on some amount of isolated showers. And that's relates to where the rainfall is expected in the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. We can definitely make out all of the greens. The yellows represent some isolated showers. The oranges all the way up to the reds represent all the way up to an inch of rainfall, especially across the western portion of the basin, anywhere from Florida southward, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, sections of Panama, Colombia getting in on some of the action and getting in on the brunt of the action within the next 24 hours for sure. So too, sections of Venezuela, maybe section of Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, as well as sections of Suriname getting on some rainfall too. Section of Trinidad and Tobago, if I didn't already say that, as well as areas to the north of majority of the Windward Islands, so anywhere from St. Lucia northward, Martinique, Dominica, section of Guadeloupe, section of the Leeward Islands, so too, the Eastern British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, section of the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas as well. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching.